Alrighty, everybody. Welcome back to the Ogre and the Ass podcast. You are now entering the swamp. Alrighty, well today, we have Justice here with us. Justice, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Dude, we're so excited to have you. Heard a lot about you through our mutual friend Harley, and shout out to Harley, by the way. Shout out to you. Definitely appreciate you. And Eric, I'm afraid to ask how you're doing today, man.
I'm always doing fan-freaking-tastic.
I don't know if that's like a good thing. Wait. Come on, man. Kids could be listening to this.
Exactly.
Well, Justice, like I said, man, we really appreciate having you on the show with us today. Really, like, we feel like complete amateurs. Like, there was a part of us that was really a little scared bringing you on because it's like, oh, he's going to see our setup. He's going to know that we're not good at what we do.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
No, so we're really excited to hear about that and dive a little more into it. And just before we get any further, to anyone listening on any of our platforms, please hit the like and subscribe button or hit the follow button. We really do appreciate that.
Oh, we're those people now, huh?
Well, you gotta do it a little bit. Hey, people need to be reminded from time to time. You ain't gonna hit it themselves.
Fair enough.
Yes, they will. But alrighty. So, Justice, going into this a little bit, really, I don't even know a whole lot behind exactly the company you work for, but I just know like how much you were hyped up to me, your resume, getting into this. So, first off, who do you work for, and what exactly do you do?
So currently, I work for a company called Hoonigan Racing Devision, which is owned by a guy named Ken Block. He's one of the original founders of DC Shoes, and so that's how a lot of people know him.
Is he?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I remember the Howders. They always wore DC shoes.
Yeah,
Dang,
DC
okay.
Shoes. So, I mean, after DC, then he got into rally racing, which is just taking cars and going 100 miles per hour down a dirt road in the forest and trying not to wrap yourself around a tree, basically.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I'm the content manager there, which just means that I take a lot of the content that is filmed. We hired a lot of filmers, and sometimes I do film things here and there, but mostly what I do is take the content and then create the edits and things like that. So mainly what I like, the platforms that they go onto are YouTube. So we have a big presence on YouTube. And then we also obviously take care of Instagram. We're starting to kind of dive into like looking at TikTok and things like that. So Facebook.
Yeah.
So all those like 50 or probably 75 to 80% of the edits that go out are things that I've created. So we do have other people that edit things. Like we hire out, like outsource different things like that. But generally, it's all in-house. So.
Okay, so how did you get close to someone like Ken Block to where he trusted you with his videography?
I actually didn't meet Ken until after I was hired. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But what I did start, I started filming when I was 12. So I started, cruising around with it was like the very first digital camera from Sony. I don't know if it actually
was it like one of those like flip cameras or something?
Yeah, well, it was around that time. Even before that, they had... Dude, it was terrible.
Before flip, that is bad.
Yeah,
showing your age there.
Yeah. Anyways, it's called a Power Shot.
Okay.
Or it might have been Canon. I think it was Canon actually. Canon Power Shot, yeah. And so it filmed at 480p, high def.
480p. Yeah. So like we can like almost count the pixels on the page.
Yeah, and that was at that time. This was probably a year after YouTube started, and so it was starting to gain popularity. They were like talking about YouTube on the news and stuff. They were having like news articles or what are they? News articles, but whatever they call them. Segments about YouTube. Okay. And so I'm like, I'll post stuff there. And so I filmed skateboarding with all my friends and creating some content like that. And just over the years, it kind of turned into this.
Wait, so did you get to where you are today without a degree?
Yeah, I don't have a degrey.
Holy cow. So you just had so much like good content out there. Someone saw you, like, this guy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know if it's good content, but somebody liked it. So.
if you're working with big names like that. Like
repetition.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it really started, after high school, I did go to college for a year, dropped out, went on a mission, came back, went to college for one class, dropped out again.
So you probably went into this like after your mission, just like I'm gonna tackle this. I'm gonna get into this.
Take this, and then I was just like, nope, I can't do it.
Screw it.
I tried twice, whatever.
It's just I felt like I was learning things that I'd already learned, and I think there's a lot that I could have learned if I'd stayed in college when I've gotten to the end, but I just didn't want to wait for 2 or 3 years to get to that point, right? So. Anyway, so then at that point, I was working at a leather company. I was sewing, what is it, like leather, like journals.
Were you working in a Chinese sweatshop?
Pretty much. No joke. Like my hands would bleed by the end of the day because
my goodness.
yeah. So, I was making like $9 an hour, and just like so like at the time it was nothing for me, So, but I wanted to do something with that, so I borrowed a camera from a friend, started filming football games on the side, because I film skateboarding, but there's no money in skateboarding, at least not here in Utah. So
yeah.
So I was like, okay, I gotta figure something out. So I made like $50 a game, high school football games.
Oh, okay.
Which was such a lot. Like you'd film for 4 hours and make $50. It was just like,
so they paid you?
Yeah, it's better than $9 an hour.
I got it. And so after that, I got my first gig at this real estate investment place as a full-time thing. Worked there for 2 or 3 years, and then was laid off with the entire marketing team. Like, let us all go. And when that happened, I was dating my now wife, but she was my fiance at the time. And I was like, babe, I just lost my job.
Oh shoot, man.
Yeah, and she was freaking out, but I was like, I'm gonna just see what gonna try it out this next week and see if I can make more money in a week than I did before. And that week I made like $500, and normally I'd make like 300. So I was like, rock on.
Dang.
Yeah. So I was trying. Dude, at the time I was driving this beat up little Civic that dents all over, spray paint flames on it. It was $800.
So you one of
Ghetto
those guys.
fabulous.
Dude,
right?
I was like living that life.
So you knew when Justice was coming around, you could hear it.
Yeah.
Oh, that spray paint, you could probably smell it too.
Yeah, and so I just kind of went for it at that point, and I was lucky enough that my wife's really smart. She's got a master's degree as a teacher, so she was making decent money, and then I was able to just kind of push for it, and I made pretty decent money just after being let go from them. They almost immediately hired me to do freelance, which I made more money than I was, and I was like, okay.
They just probably didn't have to pay for like benefits and stuff.
Exactly, right.
Gotcha.
And after that I just started, I would do things like real estate because that's what I knew how to do. But then I was pushing on this side for like you see my portfolio, it's almost strictly like automotive stuff. And I started filming automotive stuff and motorcycles and things like that, trying to get into these extreme sports genres. And over time, like I was freelance for a long time until the point that we realized we were going to have a baby. We were pregnant. And I was like, crap, like, I don't want you, like, I wanted her to be at home, and she wanted to be at home with our baby. And I was like, I got to figure something out. So I took a full-time gig at Purple as their assistant editor, and over the next Purple mattresses. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
In case no one knows what Purple is. At the color Purple. I worked.
Yeah, you worked for the color. That's pretty big. That's a big name.
All right. It's a good movie.
Color Purple.
I'm sorry. That's what I thought when you said purple anyway. Color purple.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, let's move on.
So I had benefits. I worked over the next year and a half. I worked there for 2 years, but after a year and a half, I was promoted to lead editor over there. And then worked there for another 6 months, and then got this job over at Hoonigan Racing Devision. So, and that came about because of my portfolio. So even though my professional career, I haven't been paid a lot for automotive stuff, my portfolio showed that I knew how to film it and that I liked it. Like I had a lot of passion for it. And a buddy of mine was he sent my name over to these guys, and we got connected. And one of their interview questions was like, one of the interview questions was,
it's one strike.
have you ever been
Get the hell out of my swamp.
Yeah. One of the questions was, have you ever been on fire in a car?
Have you really been there? Like, come on.
And then I was like, are you willing to stand in front of a car and face imminent danger and stuff like that? It's like, these are my interview questions over the email. I was like, cool, let's do it.
So was this like what you do on any application? Like, are you willing to go above and beyond? Like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Then you get there and you show up 5 minutes late every day and all. So, wow. So they were asking you like life-threatening questions.
Yeah, because we film kind of this crazy automotive stuff, and we do it in a way that, shows the action, right? So
yeah.
Have you ever been put in danger before?
Put myself in danger for sure. Hang out of cars. I have gimbals, that old stuff. I've dropped gimbals out of cars and broke those, or hanging off the back of a tailgate to try to get a shot really close and hit a bump and you almost fall out, stuff like that. So
what would you say is the scariest thing you've ever done?
Film wise? I don't know. You don't think of it as scary.
It's just part of the job.
Yeah, you can just accept it. I don't know. But probably one of the times that I was hanging out of the window, when like you're not strapped in at all, but you're sitting on top of the windowsill trying to get a shot. And I feel like looking back, that's probably dangerous. There was a time though, I worked for a company called 8080 and just doing freelance for them. And what they do is give away cars over in Bluffdale, and they've gotten really big. And so it's one of those companies that you buy a T-shirt, every $5 you spend gets an entry into the car, blah blah. Anyway, but me and one of the filmers there, we were driving around in the car to go film because we would take the car out and put it in a location, then film it and make it look all pretty. And the cops in the area knew who we were because they
probably get calls about you guys all the time.
Yeah, and so. One of them was a cool dude. He pulled us over and then he challenged us to a race. So we were going 120 down the road with it. We're just filming it. Yeah.
Funny story. Kind of thinking about that. That takes me back a little bit. Back when I was living in Modesto, California, come to a stoplight. And I look over and there's a cop staring at me and he's just smiling. And now in the time because I was young, I was like in my mother's Toyota Highlander. So I ain't burning rubber and shit. Right. I'm not burning rubber on anything on the Toyota Highlander. But he just kind of looks at me and he smiles. I'm like, he's not. No way. He's not giving me the go ahead. And it's like green light. And so he goes, and I just try to keep up with him. He goes faster, so I try to keep up with him. Like, okay, as long as I'm going as fast as the cop, I'm not going to get pulled over. It's like he's not trying to trap me, is he? Anyway, so we're going down a road where the speed limit was 35. This cop and I hit almost 70 down this road. I kid you not. I don't know what he saw in me to be like that one.
That guy in that Toyota handles.
Maybe he was having a bad day, so he wanted an easy W. So he saw the Highlander, and he's like, "Yeah, I can outrun that."
It'll be funny though if you actually beat him and then he pulls you over and he says, "I almost had you." The Fast and the Furious meme, "I almost had you."
No, we don't. Let's not get into Fast and Furious memes. I've had enough of those the last 2 weeks. No, but that's really cool though. So, you building up your portfolio got you to where you are today. Of course, you became super well known in your area. At least, I guess I would guess you say in that industry, at least.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm super well known yet, but I've definitely got to the point where I've been able to get a cool job. So.
Well, what I'll say is, like, we've had people on here before who had, where the police knew them, but it wasn't for good reasons. But police know you, and it's for good reasons. So we'll take that.
Two sides of the law there. Both doing sometimes maybe illegal things, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. And so but really what this stems from is that you have a passion for cars. Is that right?
Totally, yeah. Cars, motorcycles, pretty much anything with an engine. If we can go fast in it, let's do it.
That's your thing.
Yeah.
So, and you told me before we started doing this that you're building a car right now. Is that right? What are you building? I got to ask.
It's do you know what a Datsun 240Z is?
No.
Either of you?
I've heard of the Datsun, but I've never.
Datsun, baby! So, you've seen the Nissan 370Zs.
Yes.
Yeah. So before Nissan, at least here in America, when Nissan wanted to come to America, they wanted to do it inconspicuously, right? And so they had a test brand named Datsun, and they wanted to throw some cars to see what they would do in the American economy. And the 240Z freaking killed it, man. It was like it kind of looks like a Porsche, and it was around the same time. It was like the first one was in 1969. Datsun 240Z. It came out. It was faster than the Porsche 911, stuff like that.
Wow.
So. But it was like the poor man's sports car. And so now they're just rusting away everywhere. Like people want incredible amounts of money. But I found one in Idaho for like $2,700. I tore that thing down and I was trying to get it ready for our wedding in 2015. So you can see I've been working on it for a few years because I'm still there. And it's like I get to a point where it's almost done and then I'm like, I'm going to change it. Rip the engine out, put a new engine in. Stuff
so what are you going to do with it? Like what kind of stuff are you adding to it?
So like I put an engine from a Nissan Skyline. Do you know what yeah, that is? So I took that and threw it in. I've added 2 fuel tanks into it. So it has like a main fuel tank and then it goes into a secondary one where then when I'm cornering really hard, then it won't run out of gas basically. Yeah. I've done a bunch of other stuff like that. It's got a full cage. Like this thing's it's going to shred. So, but the plan for it is to do hill climb racing, which is, do you guys know Pikes Peak in Colorado?
That sounds familiar, but no.
It's like you just race up really windy, like American Fork Canyon. Or
Oh,
Provo
okay,
Canyon.
okay.
Yeah, if you just held a race out there where you shut off all the roads and just went through that canyon going from American Fork to Provo, that's basically what I want to do. It's just like, how fast can you make it through without dying? So,
How does your wife feel about all this?
she's not stoked completely. I have this habit of getting hurt doing things. Like, I don't know what it is. It's like this curse, but you can see I've got this cut on my lip. I've got broken wrists. Like, I've got scars all over my body. I actually had a motorcycle accident 2018, just dorking around on a dirt bike, and I got impaled by my handlebars. Had to get life flighted out of.
Whoa,
dude, it was nuts.
Whoa.
It's like anything that I can get hurt with, I pretty much will. So,
2019, I got in a motorcycle accident. I'm like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah.
That's it. I was super lucky. I'd actually, so I'm an idiot. Thankfully, we weren't going super fast, but I didn't have a helmet on.
Ooh. You can see my face.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So,
zoom in on that.
Thankfully, it was not going very fast, and that was the only thing that probably saved me. And that also, I had a Carhartt vest on, a thick. I've worn it on the podcast before, but that thing protected my back from getting road rash. I got road rash up and down my arm, and I still to this day thank rugby. Because rugby, like we actually have training of keeping our head off the ground because you're getting tackled 20 times a game at least. So you have to train to keep your head off the ground. That way you don't get concussed every single hit. So I still to this day thank rugby that I didn't die.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So I think what's the coolest part about this is that you just had a passion for vehicles. Yeah. Anything that just went vroom.
Yeah.
And you're just like, let me take some videos of this. And look where it's gotten you now. Yeah, totally. And so I think that that's really powerful for people who think they have these passions, they have no idea what to do with it. Yeah. Or they think like, oh, it can't amount to anything. And really, you just took some time. Who taught you all the editing skills?
YouTube, man.
YouTube University, right there, brother.
Taught me everything.
Right there, man.
Because at first, when I started, I was using Windows Movie Maker. When I was 12 years old.
Yeah, okay.
My first video's out there, and it's got Bad to the Bone, the song. That's my first video. I've got like hair down to here. I get slapped in the face at the beginning. Yeah. Yeah. It was terrible.
That's such an early 2000s video.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so.
I do want to know, though, or we can say something?
No, go ahead.
Two things, like the type of camera you use, what's good for a beginner versus professional, and then like the software you use for editing now.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. Let's start with cameras. Let's break it down by that. As far as like beginner cameras, I've used cameras all over the range. Like there's Red cameras, which are really high end, or there's like Arri is a brand that's really high end. They're like $60,000-$70,000 cameras. Yeah. And those are super fun to use because you're like, yeah, I'm holding a Porsche in my hand, you know. But there's also like what I use mostly are Sony cameras, and I still have like. I have a Sony A7S1 Mark 1, and they're coming out with the 4 right now, if I remember correctly. And so I paid $3,200 for it initially, and now you can get them for like $200 on KSL. But those, they're great cameras. If you get the Mark II, that's the one I would recommend, because then it's kind of a good price point between like it's used, but it's got internal 4K capabilities. So you could probably pick one up for like $600 or something like that. But
would that be good also for a podcast? 'Cause I do want to get a camera eventually.
Yeah. I will say, instead of investing in a fancy camera, what you want to do is invest in nicer lenses. Like you could get a normal camera with a nice lens, and like by nice I mean like you could get the Canon L series, which are like $500, or if you get the what is it, the Art series by. Can't remember who does ours. Anyway, you invest a little bit more money into your lenses. Dang. And you
Strike two.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
Throw me out that window. That's where you're going to get the better look. Because if you have a nice, or if you have a crappy lens but a really nice camera, you like spend $10,000 camera, but you just have this crappy lens, the quality is going to look like crap. But that you just need that visual glass.
So really, when it comes to videography, the camera's whatever, but the lens is everything.
Yeah, the camera's.
Of course it matters, but really, I'd say the most important part is the lens.
Yeah, and if you're looking to go on a budget, look up vintagelensesforvideo.com. You can get like old, and I use a lot of them too because they're kind of cool. You can get old, just lenses from like the 70s and get adapters. Adapters are like $12. And then you buy like a $30 lens. But back then, the 70s, like the lens quality, like the glass quality was so crisp. And you can get like these old Russian lenses for like $50, like super good. And they have like cool lens flares because of the way they were made. And like then you get like a good depth of field and save a lot of money.
Before you leave, like, write that down for me.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That's a lot of information. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
remember that. You're gonna text me.
That's right. Anyway, so that's a really good resource for if you're going on the cheap and you want to get like a good quality look. That's the way to go. And like you could, if you really wanted to, you could even do what is it? The Canon. Crap, I can't even remember the name of it. It's been so long. I used to have this camera. I can't remember it. Never mind. There's a Canon camera out there that was like the T3i, the Canon T3i. It's a pretty old camera, but if you got that and some nice lenses, you would be able to film like that would up your quality a lot. And that camera would probably be like $100 on KSL.
Oh wow,
Nice.
And
nice.
so,
All right.
if you want to spend a little bit more, then I would recommend the Sony A7S II because you get low light and 4K. But
Okay, yeah, no thanks.
spitting out terms.
Yeah, no, this is good.
yeah, man, you're doing too much right now.
Well, like
You're
I said, just write
okay,
it
you're
down.
cool.
I'll write
Okay,
it down.
you're smarter than us. We get it. Like,
I'll write
Flex.
some stuff down there. Sorry, too much knowledge.
sorry, I'm just too.
I'm just
too
so smart, you know.
But I love this though because I definitely enjoy our cameras here, but I definitely want better cameras, and I like how you have all these ideas.
Yeah.
Now I'm definitely retarded, so a lot of what you're saying is bouncing off my head.
That's like Alex Jones
but I
right there.
appreciate it.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little retarded.
Exactly.
And I think the thing to remember, like with filming, is like it doesn't matter how you get the shot. It's what matters is the shot. And so, like, if you can get like a really cool shot with, like, I watched this video the other day, and they filmed a train scene, and it was, how did they? Oh, they did it where they were just rotating a mirror, and they had a light that was pointing at the mirror. So like, this one guy is on the side of the train rocking it. And so the people are inside filming. This guy's on the side of it just rocking it. And then two people on the outside were rotating. They had this mirror on a spinner, and they had a light just shining at it. And as it would rotate, the light would go down past the windows. And
Oh,
It
wow.
was so low budget, but it was like...
But that's genius, though.
Yeah, they got the shot. So it's like, it doesn't matter what you're filming on or like what it is. It's just a matter of like...
Creativity.
getting the shot.
I'm like, that's just creativity right there.
Yeah, so...
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You really have to be an innovator when you're in this sort of industry, don't you?
Yeah, especially especially in my career path, like I was freelance for a few years, and it's not like, especially in the beginning of your career, you don't make a lot of money. You're just trying to like figure it out, and so like trying to figure out and like gain more clients and things like that. And so you're figuring out different ways on how to make something really cool that will stand out without doing like, losing your house or whatever. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, that almost sounds like a bit of a Casey Neistat story.
Yeah,
This is very similar.
Yeah.
Where he was, I think, I'm not gonna go too much into the story, but I just know he was a baller on a budget, and he went all out. He got a credit card, cashed it out to buy, I think it was a camera and a MacBook. That way he could edit everything, and that was it. That was his
That's
Hail
exactly
Mary.
what I did. I was like, credit card, baby.
Oh shoot, man! But look what happened. Like, so how many hours a day were you working, or trying to create content or editing? Like, how much time was really devoted to this?
It depends. I mean, at that time I was like, it kind of goes and flows. I feel like I'm working more now. Like at the time I didn't have the work ethic, I guess, that I do now. I probably could have grown my company even faster than I did. But I like to screw around and go skateboard and stuff. So, but like, I still probably put in, 60 hours a week at the point. Whereas now, like, sometimes I'll put in like 90 hours in a week. Just
Oh my goodness!
yeah, it's just like all I do is work sometimes. Other times, like I just went to Lake Powell all last week, which was awesome. So I just got to relax and play. But then my extended family always gives me a hard time because I go to Lake Powell, I film a bunch of cool stuff with the GoPros, and what happens with it? When am I going to film it? Or edit it?
Yep.
So,
Oh man, yeah.
so it's like I've got stuff to make money. So
I understand that. So I just think that, like, again, kind of going back to it, I think that's just so cool. You just had a passion, you had a vision for it, and I kind of throw this out there because you talked on it for a second, but you didn't even have the greatest work ethic at first. Is that right?
no, I was pretty.
Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out like that, but you said it, so I had to touch
Yeah,
on it because
no,
it caught
it's
my ear.
Yeah.
So how did you get to where you are with such a, if you don't mind me asking, but let's just say par work ethic?
I mean, it did take a while. I think, like I said, it took longer than I could have if I didn't,
Yeah, you could have sped up the process had you knuckled down a little more.
Yeah, and so I think just once you start, if you create things that you love, then somebody sees it who then shows it to somebody else, who then hires you, and you get paid $250 or whatever, and then you make a video for them. But then they send it to somebody else, and it slowly but surely over time, that just kind of follows its course. And if you're really good, and if you have really good ethic, then that speeds up that a lot. Like I see people that blow up really fast because they have really good content at the beginning. But at the beginning, like I knew a lot of stuff, like, but I didn't, like I know way more now than even when I first started freelancing.
Yeah.
It was like I got thrown into the deep end of knowledge, and I just had to like start gulping it down, or else I was going to drown, you know? So,
Yeah.
and so, 6 years now later, I've just inhaled as much as I can. And I'm still still trying to learn. There's still so much to learn, you know?
Oh, I bet it seems like, especially with this industry, there's never ending amount of knowledge. Like there's always something else you can learn. There's someone innovating something new, good ideas, just something like that. So, wow, I'm not gonna lie, that's really inspiring, because again, some of the things that you hear from people is, so I have my own online marketing business, and people are like, man, that's so cool. And they'll even say like, oh, like they're jealous about this stuff. I'm like, well, why are you jealous? Then go do it. You have something that you're good at, or you have something that you feel passionate about. Go and do it. And I think I don't know what happens after that. Clearly, most of them don't go out and do it. But it's just like, you're already good at something, you're already passionate about it. Turn on a freaking camera, learn how to make a couple edits on YouTube. YouTube University is amazing and free.
Yeah.
Dude, we talk about YouTube University all the time on here. We are such big believers in that. So getting all of this set up, everything, learning any little bit. And again, we are amateurs. It was all YouTube still. That's awesome. What we had to go off of. But yeah, just turn on a camera and get filming on either if it's you or people you know. And no, I think there's a lot to learn from that. And it's people overcomplicate it. Yeah. And look where you've brought yourself now. Yeah. Like you're working with Ken Block, you're associated with Hoonigans. Yeah. And it kind of talk a little bit about what Hoonigans is, because I'm going to be honest, I still am not 100% great with that.
So Hoonigan, there's two divisions. There's Hoonigan, and then there's Hoonigan Racing Division. So Hoonigan is based in Compton, California, and their channel is both of the channels are one of the two of the largest automotive channels on YouTube.
Oh wow!
So there's Ken Block's channel, which is the Hoonigan Racing Division, and that's what I kind of cover. Like the things that I create are specifically for that. And then the Hoonigan channel is all of these guys down there, and they film a bunch of people bring in their cars and do burnouts in they call it the burn yard, and do different things like that. So that basically all they do is, I guess all of us do, or film cool automotive stuff and just screw around, you know, which is great.
So yeah, like you said, you're working 90-hour weeks, but how much of that? So you're just on the racetrack, just out there with a bunch of guys as they're seeing them race their cool cars?
Yeah. So like sometimes we'll go to the racetrack. Like a lot of times what we'll do is we go to the actual, like for Hoonigan Racing Division,
mm-hmm.
I'll be going to the New England Forest Rally, which is one of the United States-based rallies, and we'll be gone for a week and a half, and we're going to film an episode that's going to go onto the channel, which doesn't have anything to do with the rally. It's just a different an episode of we're meeting up with somebody who's famous, and we're going to do some cool stuff with them, basically.
Yeah.
And then the next week, like after that, so that's like the first half of the week, and the second half of the week then is all the rally. So we'll be filming a ton of rally content. I'll be in the pit basically just sweating in the heat, right? And I'm just editing.
Oh my goodness.
So as soon as the car comes in, we rip out, because we have a bunch of GoPros inside the car. We just take the footage all off and get the GoPros recharged, like the batteries replaced, the new memory cards in, and I take all the footage off and just start creating content that we're then going to post onto the Instagram, because it has to go up like that day. And we want like 4 or 5 posts a day. So it's like, got to bust it out. Mm-hmm. And then we also take that same content and put it into the different the different YouTube videos. So.
Okay. So I got to point it out there because you said Compton. So do you go around? Do you ever tell people like you straight out of Compton? You about that? I mess with it heavy.
I wish I got to work with those guys more in the Compton side of things. But since it's kind of a split division, then I don't get it. My boss works with them pretty closely. He's the director of marketing for Hoonigan Racing Division, and his name's Zach Mertens. And so if you watch the Hoonigan channel, the original or the other, just the Compton channel, you'll see him a lot in that. Because that's where he was based out of. He started down in California, and then just recently moved to Utah to be a part of Ken Block's channel more rather than the Hoonigan channel.
So how long has Hoonigan been a thing?
I think they started in like 2011, 2012, if I remember correctly. And that is Ken Block and Scotto and probably some other people. I don't know exactly who all the founders were. Scotto, I can't think of his last name, but Brian Scotto. His last name is Scotto.
I was going to say, if you can't think of it, we're not getting it.
Yeah. So Ken Block and Brian Scotto and probably some other people started Hoonigan, and it's just basically to hoon something is to like go out and shred a car. To hoon, just like and they call it like if you look at the tags on everything, it says hoon responsibly, like don't go and kill somebody because you're messing around in your car. So that's what being a Hoonigan is, like a hooligan, but you're hooning your car.
I understand.
That's clever, good.
I like that.
Sorry.
Explain it to us like we're 3. No,
I'm not good at that. And so
Awesome. Well, dang. So now you're caught up in this big, I guess, racing world, right? And I guess what's the plan now? Where do you go from here?
The plan right now is to stick around with Hoonigan and Hoonigan Racing Division, and hopefully over the years just kind of move up in there. And I've talked to him about like how my goals would be to become a creative director and move away from editing there and kind of just direct what content is being created as far as like telling people what to do. And so we do that a little bit, but right now it's like such a small team that it's like everyone's in the trenches. So.
And so the people who work under you, is that like an entry level job under you, or is it like people who go to college in videography and then they get hired onto the Hoonigan or Ken Block's channel?
Well, right now it's like it's only me and one other guy. So Ken Block's channel is tiny. Eventually like we will hire people, and it really doesn't like we don't like look at that kind of thing as a qualification in our industry. Yeah. It's just, can you create cool stuff? Can you follow directions? Can you,
be competent?
Can you not get ran over when you're filming something?
Dude, can you not fall off the car? So I just think that's so cool too. It's like 30 years ago, it's like you wanted a good job. What was your degree? Yeah. And now I think we're leaning more towards experience. What do you create? And that's being looked at more. Now, clearly, if you're like a CPA or a lawyer, I hope you have a degree. I ain't going to trust you on that one.
Right? Please defend me properly.
Right? Oh yeah, it's like you're a surgeon. It's like, don't worry, I played a lot of oh man, goodness, what's that game now? Think about it. Oh, Doctor, no, dang it, I can't believe it. I just thought of it. It left. Boy, you talk about having a brain fart in the middle of an episode.
It's the board game, right? The Doctor board.
Yeah, where you got to like pull the parts out. Just say, it's like, don't worry, I've been doing this for years since I was 5. Okay, anyone in the comment section, please like tell us what that is. I'm spacing it so bad.
On the fly, it's so hard sometimes. Remember,
I'm so mad. I'm not gonna lie. A '90s reference is coming out. I want to say "Bop It."
I don't think that's it.
No, definitely not it. Okay. And so that's as far as working with Hoonigans then. So, obviously you're talking about becoming a creative director. And then what about for yourself? Like, are you ever going to kind of branch off with your own business and try to just work for you?
I'm always coming up with like, I'm scheming all the time. Mm-hmm. And so like on top of like this, I also helped at one point, my wife and I started a film to digital conversion company, and that ended up being pretty hard because you're competing against some pretty big, like Costco and stuff. And we ended up just like backing out of it because it's just too much competition on the big level. But like, we're always kind of coming up with different business ideas that we want to try on the side. And so eventually, like I've got plans right now to start a business in the next couple of months that like will be a small business. It will make what I'm guessing is like $2,500 of passive income on each month. Mm-hmm. I'll do a little bit of maintenance work, but I don't want to give it away. Sorry, can't give it everything.
Give us your secrets, man. Justice, you don't want the strike 3, brother. What's the secrets? Okay.
So there'll be a little bit of work that I have to put into it, but mostly it's going to be passive. And then I will take that money after I pay off the initial debt that it takes to start it. Then I'll take that money and use it as leverage to start a more lucrative company that I want to base out of Riverton, and then slowly grow that.
So, and one thing too, I got to put this up because again, you talked about 6 years ago, you didn't have a great work ethic, and now here you are, you're always thinking ahead. You're trying to put yourself 2, 3, 4, 5 steps ahead. Yeah. And I think that also goes to show people who feel like, oh, I don't have like a great work ethic. I don't have that discipline. One, it will come. It's like momentum. And then once you get to a point like where you are, it's just like, just it's always there now.
Yeah.
The fact that, again, I wish you'd tell us, you selfish son of a bitch, but but like, again, you have this plan ahead of you. You already, like, you've obviously put a lot of thought into this, you and your wife.
Yeah.
And so I hope people are looking at that and just saying, like, any regular person starts something, you build momentum, and eventually when that momentum really starts to build up, what it becomes and what you're able to create. So you are, to me, like one of those stories of someone who just, you took a chance on yourself and you didn't have all the answers at first. Like Kanye, you don't got the answers, but you look where you are now and what you're creating, what you're doing for your family, and all without a degree. So I think that's amazing.
Who needs them? Doctors.
Doctors.
Right, doctor, please.
I swear it came back and it left. Not like surgeon. No, dang it.
Is it a surgery?
No.
Surgeon. Doctor.
Buzz.
Rat trap.
Gosh.
Oh, I
Rat
love
trap.
that.
Shut up. Rat trap back in the day. Oh my gosh. I got like PTSD of 90. It's like a Vietnam vet. Going
Choppers in the background.
Oh my gosh.
Eyes wide open.
One thing I did want to point, like, so we don't forget, you also talked about editing, like different software.
Oh yeah, your software.
So there's tons of options out there, but I would say the main ones, if you're going to go into movie editing, and expensive stuff, like the expensive software is called Avid for movie, like actual movies. Then there's Premiere, which is Adobe software.
Yeah.
And then that you pay $50 a month or so. For that.
We do that, don't we?
Well, we had a free subscription to Premiere. That's it. I don't remember what I did, but I got like a free subscription for a while. So I was like, oh, we got it. Let's just use it. And I do like it. It is amazing.
So for somebody who doesn't quite have that budget but wants to start learning, a really good tool is something called Davinci Resolve.
I just heard about that.
Yes.
Like just like 2 weeks ago.
Really good. Like 2015, it wasn't that good, but they have put a ton of money into it. They actually build, not only do they do software, but they build a lot of hardware for like audio stuff. They build really nice cameras now that compete like with high-end systems.
Wow.
So it's like they've kind of grown their company, but their software, they've put a ton of time into developing it, and it competes. Like it's the free version. Like it's as good as Premiere if you take the time to learn it. It's got its own quirks, but so does Premiere, right?
Yeah.
And then it's also got, if you know what Adobe After Effects is, where you can do 2D and 3D motion design.
I need that.
What is it? The Davinci Resolve has basically part of it is that, and it's got all these different things that it can do. So if you like, that's the way to do. And if you want to get into 3D editing, then a free software that's really, really good is called Blender 3D. So,
Wait, I actually downloaded Blender.
Did you?
Yeah, just like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Blender is awesome. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Because the reason I asked too is because I do want to get into logo designs. Because I do like a lot of the artwork for the Ogre and the Ass. I'm like, well, let me just kick it up a notch. Yeah, totally. A lot of people say they like the artwork, but I'm like, well, if they like it, let me try and do better. Yeah. And then get paid to do that for other companies. So that's those companies you just told me about the software. That's definitely gonna help me out a lot.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I can't remember. I don't know if Blackmagic has a graphic design software application, but I know that there are some. I'll look some up for you.
Yeah.
So when coming, so I'm going to ask fast about Davinci Resolve. How was it with its vocal synchronization? Because that's one of the big things for us. Like obviously as a podcast, we don't use the microphones on our cameras because that's trash. But we use this, and obviously syncing it up. We don't want to look like a Japanese movie. You know what I mean? We don't want to
hear the barking dog like 10 minutes after the dog opened its mouth.
Yeah. So.
I don't know all the tools exactly inside of DaVinci. I've only used it so many times. I've just kind of followed it basically.
Yeah.
Because I haven't paid for software in so long. I just have the companies I work for pay for it,
No, for real.
So I just use Premiere, which is pretty good synchronization, which you probably saw. But I would imagine, and we could look it up in 2 seconds on Google, that the synchronization is there because they have put a lot of time into like developing tools that compete with Premiere.
Yeah, especially if you're gonna do like voiceover work, anything like that, like you got to have that function.
Yeah, and I think there is an audio portion to it too. So.
Oh, okay, cool. So kind of wrapping this up now, I want to know if you had like one golden bit of advice for someone who's looking into, well, really, let's say there's any sort of content creation. I saw that. All right, so it wasn't that. I won't count that as strike 3. It's like 2.5. But for someone who's wanting to do their own content creation, what is some advice you'd have for them?
I think people get so wrapped up in trying to create something that they think other people will like, and it's like that doesn't go anywhere. Like there's so many people doing that, and so many people that create travel videos that all look the same. They have the zoom in effect, where they zoom in from one shot to another, and it's all like kind of the same cliche stuff. And what I would say is just do the things that you like. It really comes down to doing the thing that you like. And if you do that, you're passionate about it, you keep doing it. It's like consistency is going to be the main factor through anything. And if you're not doing something that you like to do, then you won't be consistent. You'll give up on it. But if you do something that you like to do, then you just do it, even if you're not making money,
Yeah, absolutely. So, just become a passion project.
And that's exactly how I got anywhere, because didn't make money at first.
It takes time. Okay. Eric, well, I mean, what is your last words of advice? If people who want to get into this, even though you don't do anything, but you do some logo creation, but I got to ask you.
I make the shit look good, all right?
You make it look good. Yeah, so just so everyone knows, Eric is responsible for the thumbnails we do have.
Oh, nice. I was checking them out. They look good.
Thank you. I'm hoping it'll get better. I'm going to try to use Blender more often.
Yeah, there you go.
But advice, just, I don't know, go out there and just do the work. Like he said, he started off doing nothing. And now it's something, something big, and it's all about your passion. And also something I learned from watching other YouTubers, they told me that never go into it trying to make money at first, because you'll be miserable, you won't make anything, you'll be demotivated. But if you go in there with the passion, just liking it, then the money will follow after it. And so that's just my advice for people.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
A lot of people with money that want to give to people who are passionate.
Hey, well, we're passionate. Okay.
Oh, yeah. What about them super chats, right? You need to start that up. I'm joking.
That's right.
What is a super chat?
We don't need to get into that. But okay. Well, anyway, Justice, man, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And for everyone listening, thank you again for listening. And please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button or the follow button. We do see that. We track it. We're able to see like the amount of love we're getting. Yeah, we're watching you, big brother. No, it's just so cool. Like, so what we're actually able to do is like, we just see areas of the world where people listen. So that's like on one of our last podcasts, it showed like people in Europe are listening. It's like, oh, that's so cool. Like, it doesn't give us addresses. We don't track IP addresses.
Yet.
Yeah. We got to know. No.
We're talking to YouTube now.
No, it's just so cool that it lets us see, and you just see kind of like the love and support you get. And of course, you probably know what that's like when you're creating content, you're getting love and support behind it, and it grows and grows. And obviously, we're still in that beginning phase, and we're so grateful to have you on. And honestly, seeing you motivates me a little bit more, because it's like, hey, like this does go somewhere. It's not just me and Eric coming up here and being assholes, because we do love that. That is so much fun. But it's also like this could go somewhere, and maybe it brings someone some sort of escape and happiness in the end. So thanks again, Justice, for having you on.
Thanks, man.
And for everyone, there's no easy way to close these things. It's just we got to just jump right into this and end it with our famous. We'll see you next time, but until then, stay the hell out of our swamp.